Congressman Keith Ellison is dropping by.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Congressman. Great to have you back.
Awesome, man. You know it. Love your show.
Thank you. The Democrat from the 5th District of Minnesota, co-chair of the Progressive Congressional Caucus, and the author, and this is amazing, your new book. It is it's not just an insight into you and your dad and your family and whatnot, but this marvelous, really kind of story of the modern history of America. Your new book, My Country, 'Tis of Thee, My Faith, My Family, Our Future, Congressman Keith Ellison.
Yeah,
so, I got to say, I love this book. I love this book, and people need to check it out. So what's on your radar screen right now?
Right now, what's on my radar screen is putting into effect the president's decision to raise the pay of people who work for federal contractors. And he announced it in the State of the Union. Now the question is, how are we going to implement this? When are we going to get this thing rocking? The fact is that workers all over this country have stagnating pay, and we have got to do something about it if we want to have a reliable pathway toward economic security for all Americans. And so that's really my number one deal, and there's a lot of ways to do something about it, but one of the best is just to start, for the federal government to do what state governments are doing all over the place, and that is to just pass a minimum wage bill that increases the pay of people. So that's really my main thing, and then, of course, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The Progressive Caucus, we had a meeting where, we're dead set against these bad trade deals that offshore American jobs, that cut in on American sovereignty. Tom, as you know, if these bad trade deals get passed, not only are they going to say, put American workers in competition with somebody with slave labor making, no money or 30 cents an hour abroad, they also will cut into our sovereignty, meaning that if Americans pass a law that we think is going to help us, and we're party to a trade deal, they could sue us for expected profits.
Right. They don't even have to be in business. They don't even have to be doing business. They can simply say, "We intended to do business, and now you owe us $10 billion because we can't."
That's right.
We got a taste of this with NAFTA. For 24 years, I believe it was, the U.S. Humane Society had lobbied for dolphin-safe tuna.
Yeah.
And they finally got that law passed back in the late 80s, as I recall. And then NAFTA passed in 96, and one of the very first things that happened was that the tuna fleets of Mexico sued the United States and said, you can't have this law on your books. And so we had to take that. Well, we didn't. The laws, I don't know if the law got taken down or not, but basically it can no longer be enforced.
Yeah, so this is the thing, look, at the very least, can America be run by Americans?
Yeah, what an idea!
What an amazing idea.
Well, the transnational corporations think not.
Well, you ask yourself where this is going, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're basically trying to have they want to privatize law that we all have to live by through these international treaties that usurp international law.
Yeah,
and that's a very scary prospect because we're not voting for these. We're not voting for these folks who are making these decisions at the transnational level. We vote at the national, state, and federal level.
Right.
And so this is an infringement on our sovereignty as a nation. I'm very concerned about it. I hope people are, and I know you are. You've been great on this stuff.
Yeah.
So those are the things that are on my mind a lot. And I tell you, one of the things that stands in the way of us being able to unify and to fight these things is, some of the intolerance that we've has always been there, but now is the time to fight for greater inclusion and unity. So I wrote the book, My Country, 'Tis of Thee, to talk about how we as a nation can come together, how we have come together, how we got a reason to be optimistic because we've stood up to the Bull Connors and we've stood up to all kinds of. We're standing up to Islamophobia today, and so that's really kind of what the book is about. How we as Americans, patriotically embrace each other and the values that underpin our country for the benefit of all of us.
Yeah. I think one of and you don't really do a lot of chest thumping in the book about this, but I think that this is, in my mind, one of the most extraordinary things about your being a member of the House of Representatives is that you're an African American and you're Muslim. You converted when you were 20 from Catholicism to Islam, and you represent a district that is 10% African American and 1% Muslim.
Yeah.
And that, to me, says that it is possible in America for people to look beyond those things and look at the character of a man's, heart and policies.
Very true. And let me tell you this, man. It's not in just the liberal north, of our country. Tennessee has a representative named Steve Cohen, who is white, Jewish, and represents a district that is 65% African American.
Right.
There have been candidates that have made race-based appeals to defeat him and have been turned away because Steve is putting it down for his district every day, listening to the folks and fighting for him.
Yep.
So there is a chance for us to build a beloved community as Martin Luther King imagined. But you know what? Here's the thing. If they can divide us, they can beat us, right?
Yeah.
They can. We need everybody's help to have trade bills that are going to be good for Americans, and if they can cut us up and slice us apart from each other, then they can get us. They can beat us.
Well, and the main through narrative that Fox News has been promoting, and they come down with their memo of the day and their meme of the day, and this has been over the last week or so, and it's been all over right-wing radio, is that Congress should not vote for an immigration bill, or for that matter, in particular, but they also shouldn't vote to extend unemployment insurance, or basically anything else, because, quote, we can't trust this president, end quote, which to me is just more of the other-ifying of the first black man to occupy a White House that was actually built by slave labor.
Dog whistle. That's all I want to say.
Yeah.
They're just dog whistling. I mean, this point, and if, there's vulgar language in the statement that Lee Atwater made many years ago, and so I can't really read it.
Right.
But he says, first of all, you say to these folks in the 1950s, N-word, N-word, N-word. Then in the 60s, you say, those people. Then in the 70s, you say, those folks who don't work hard and are on government programs. And now all you got to say is, I don't trust this president. You know what I mean? It's sort of this, they train people to know what is being said, even if it's not being said explicitly.
Right.
And here's the thing, for everybody listening, you can't go for that kind of stuff, because at the end of the day, the folks who are trying to pay substandard wages don't care what color you are.
Yeah.
We've got to stand together.
Yeah.
No matter what religion, any of that stuff, we've got to stand together based on the values that everybody counts, everybody matters, everybody has dignity, and it's interesting. They're trying to make it about the president, get people, regular, ordinary people, turning against each other based on the president. When the truth is, wages have been slow and stagnating for people all over this country. So it's time to come together, and I'm thankful that you do it every day, man.
Thank you, Congressman. Yeah, and here we are, 32 years into the experiment of Reaganomics, and it's collapsing around us. Congressman Keith Ellison, his new book is My Country, 'Tis of Thee, My Faith, My Family, Our Future. It's brilliant. I really encourage you to read it. Congressman, thanks for being with us.
You bet, Tom. Thank you.
Great talking with you.
You bet.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
To paraphrase Ben Franklin, if we don't hang together, we shall certainly hang separately. Well said. We'll be back.